Tramming a milling machine is an essential skill that ensures your cuts are precise and accurate. If the head of the mill isn't square to the table, you're going to have a lot of problems, especially when working on critical parts. Tramming simply means making sure the spindle is perfectly perpendicular to the table. This process might seem intimidating at first, but it's actually straightforward when broken down into steps. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel if this video ends up helping you out. Now then, the first thing you need to do is gather the right tools. You will need a dial indicator with a magnetic base or a tramming arm, a wrench set for adjusting the head, and a clean rag to wipe off any debris from the table. It's also a good idea to have a notepad to jot down readings as you go. Before doing anything, make sure your machine is turned off and unplugged for safety. You don't want the spindle to suddenly start moving while you're making adjustments. Start by cleaning the milling table thoroughly. Any chips, dust, or debris left on the table can affect the accuracy of your readings. Use a brush or rag to remove any particles. Even the smallest metal shaving can throw off your measurement, so take your time and make sure the surface is as clean as possible. Next, mount your dial indicator in the spindle. If you're using a tramming arm, attach it to the spindle securely. If you're using a magnetic base, make sure it's firmly attached so it doesn't shift during the process. Position the dial indicator so that the tip touches the milling table just off to one side. You want to measure how much deviation there is as you rotate the spindle. Slowly rotate the spindle by hand to move the indicator to the opposite side of the table. Keep an eye on the dial. If the reading changes, that means the head is not square to the table. The goal here is to make adjustments until the readings are the same on both sides. If you notice a big difference in readings, don't panic. It just means you'll need to make some corrections. Now it's time to adjust the head. Locate the bolts that secure the head to the machine. These are usually on the side or the front, depending on your machine model. Loosen them just enough so you can make small adjustments. Be careful not to loosen them too much, or the head might shift suddenly. To adjust the head, use a dead blow hammer or a precision jack screw. If the reading is higher on one side, gently tap the head in the opposite direction. If your machine has a fine adjustment mechanism, use that to dial in the correction more precisely. Make small adjustments and recheck your readings each time. The key here is patience. Rushing through this step will only lead to frustration and inaccurate results. Once you've adjusted the head and the readings on the dial indicator are the same on both sides, tighten the bolts back up. Be sure to tighten them evenly and gradually. If you tighten one side too much before the others, you might throw the head out of alignment again. After tightening, recheck your measurements to ensure nothing shifted in the process. If the readings changed, you may need to make minor tweaks and repeat the process. After the front to back alignment is done, you also need to check the left to right tram. Follow the same process. Place the dial indicator on one side, rotate the spindle, and compare the readings. If there's any discrepancy, adjust the head accordingly. The left to right adjustment is usually simpler since most machines have a built-in mechanism for tilting the head side to side. If everything looks good, you're ready to start milling with confidence, knowing your cuts will be accurate and even. A good habit is to tram your machine periodically, especially if you move the head for different operations. Over time, vibrations, adjustments, and general use can cause slight misalignments. Regular tramming ensures your machine stays in top working condition and produces quality workpieces. One last thing to keep in mind: always use light and even pressure when making adjustments. That's it. Now you know how to tram a milling machine. It might take a few tries to get the hang of it, but once you do, it becomes second nature. A properly trammed mill makes all the difference in machining accuracy. So, take your time, be patient, and always double-check your work. And remember, practice makes perfect, except in my case, because I keep forgetting where I put my wrenches.